What if Luffy got executed instead of Ace? Hello, Nakama! How has the sailing been across the Grand Line? Welcome to another episode of What If, your favorite One Piece show where we bring to life all the questions you wish Oda Eiichiro could have answered. The One Piece world is littered with life-defining, destiny-shaping, groundbreaking moments. Moments that literally define the civilizations of the characters. From the moment Luffy first set out to sea, we have been on a roller coaster ride. We have had moments like the battle for Alabasta between Luffy and Crocodile, to Ani's lobby, and even the battle on Skypiea Island. Each fight, each arc, each scene even, was prepared and drawn to add more depth to the story and make us fall even deeper in love with our heroes. One thing Oda is good at is feeding our imagination. He likes to create a loop and allow us to create different scenarios where the outcome is different based on each variable we change. Oda gives us the marvelous ability of a watcher. See what I did there? With one slight difference and advantage, we can make the decisions that change the outcome. I know, you can feel your hockey rising, right? Let's put it to use. Since almost every One Piece moment is set such that a slight alteration can potentially affect the plot of the entire series, it is difficult to pinpoint the single best moment for potential change. So many moments have added to Luffy's character, from his time with Rayleigh to his time with Momonosuke's retainers. However, what if I told you that I found one of the, if not the single most influential moment in One Piece history? I'm tripping, right? Wrong! Now, this is a very good time to inform you that there are spoilers ahead. Please, if you are just starting off with One Piece and you know you cannot handle spoilers, this is a good place to stop. I repeat, there are spoilers ahead. Well, look at you watching anyway. Love it. One of the most important moments to the story and overall development of characters all through One Piece is, drumroll please, the death of Ace. Yep, you heard right, folks. Not many moments tie so many inspiring events with heart-wrenching tragedy together. The death of Ace represents a very special moment for all One Piece fans. For the first time, we see our boy Luffy give his all at a task, and we're at the edge of our seats, praying him on and willing him to save Ace. And eventually, Ace dies not just before Luffy's eyes, but also before our eyes. That moment showed us that Luffy may not always get what he wishes for. Well, recent Sun God-related evidence would suggest otherwise. Luffy, for the first time, is dealing with a major pirate crisis without his crew. And this is coming almost immediately after being absolutely one-shotted by Bartholomew Kuma. Luffy needs this win, and you and I believed, hoped, and trusted that Oda would give it to him. For me, it was the first rude awakening that these boys on the sea might actually not be playing pirates. They actually are pirates. At the same time, the death of Ace was not the only offering made that day. The death of Whitebeard finally signified the end of the old era and the beginning of a new era. It signified the beginning of new world powers like Blackbeard with 2 devil fruits and Luffy with Conqueror's Haki, the Haki of the King. If all this happened just because one character was executed, imagine what the stakes would have been if the character to be executed were not Ace, but instead Luffy himself. Eerie silence. I know, it's a lot to process. Luffy, our happy-go-lucky captain, has always been a source of joy, and is honestly no stranger to life and death situations, but somehow he has always managed to pull through. Remember Zoro's epic and most hard-boiled words? Nothing happened. Yeah, that time when Zoro took Luffy's pain after the battle with Moria because Luffy would have died without it. That's just one of many times that Luffy has been at death's door. Heck, we even know that Luffy had to shorten his lifespan every time he used Gear Second. So we know Luffy is no stranger to death and is not afraid of it. But what if he really were to die? I know what you're thinking. Oda isn't crazy enough to actually kill Luffy, or isn't he? I feel like he has hinted at it a few too many times for us not to be worried. It's like at the slightest chance he gets, he wants us to know he's still in charge and can snuff out Luffy's life with a twirl of his pen. Well, if you're listening, Oda, we're helping you out here, so please don't try it with the series. Anyway, if Luffy were to get executed at Marineford, here's what I think would happen. First off, it would be the end of the Straw Hat Pirates, and no, not for the reason you're thinking. I mean, you're thinking it'll be the end because without their captain, they'll all go their separate ways. Well, I don't think so. Everyone on the Straw Hats crew has their own goal, but everyone is also extremely loyal to Luffy. So when I talk about the end of the Straw Hats, I'm talking in terms of being absolutely destroyed by the Marines. Now, first of all, the Marineford battle takes place after the rest of the team has been sent to different areas of the world by Kuma, and Luffy is left alone. Prior to the execution, like was done with Ace, a newspaper publication would be stating the date, time, and location of the public execution. This publication would serve as an invite to the Straw Hats to come to their deaths. Remember, at this point, they know nothing about hockey, and none of them is anywhere near as strong as they are post-time skip. So, they see the notification that their captain has been captured, and immediately they rush away from their trainings in the last-ditch effort to save him. The same way Luffy thought he would make it to Ace and rescue him alive is the same way the Straw Hats would think they can rescue Luffy. Zoro, for one, would rather die than let Luffy get killed before him. Now, let's say they make their way to Marineford. The field is stacked against them. There is a fleet commander, the admirals, the vice admirals, marines of all shapes, sizes, and ranks, and that's just for the Marines. Luffy had his power to bring people together working for him in the journey to save Ace, but no one else on the team possesses that power, at least not to a level anywhere near his. As such, if Luffy were the one on trial for execution, it would mean no team for Impel Down, no alliance with Whitebeard, no help from Mr. 3, and no Conqueror's Hockey. You are probably seeing just how impossible of a task it would be to get Luffy on the podium, but that's not all. If there were no Luffy on the team, each of the other team members would also have to face off against each of the 7 warlords of the sea. Imagine Sanji versus Don Flamingo. I know he'd lose as of then, but still, it'd be a scene to behold. Untrained Zoro versus Mihawk is something we've already seen, but we would see again, and I predict it would be a repeat of Zoro's first defeat, except that Mihawk would now have the title of defeating Zoro more than once. Would Luffy be without help? I know we said it would be a pretty bleak picture with the Straw Hats getting wiped out, but even before Marineford, Luffy was already building quite the friendship circle. Thanks to this, I don't think the Marines would have an easy job of executing him. First off, I suspect Monkey D. Garp, Marine Hero, and Luffy's grandfather would have something to say. We all know that Garp is extra sentimental and sensitive when it comes to Luffy. His tough Marine love and all are just his way of caring for him. Would Garp be able to keep quiet and watch his grandson get executed? I think not. Luffy getting executed would probably mean Marine Hero Garp versus the Marines. Once again, that's not all. Together with Garp, there would be a long list of people who have come to love Luffy and would not watch from the sidelines while he gets executed. One of them is the world's worst criminal, Luffy's father and the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Monkey D. Dragon. This man is still shrouded in some level of mystery despite over 1,000 episodes of One Piece. Dragon has already shown that despite his not being present for most of Luffy's life, he still cares for his son and holds him very dearly. In Logtown, he stopped Smoker from executing Luffy. While it still looks like he was just passing through and coincidentally happened to be in the location, I think the chances of that happening are too slim. I think Dragon keeps tabs on Luffy and just may not let any harm come to him. It was Kuma, his associate, that saved Luffy from death after the battle with Moria, and sent the crew to the specific places where they could all get trained and come back stronger. Based on this, would Dragon and his revolutionary army watch while Luffy gets executed? No! Dragon would muster all the team members he has and lay an ambush at Marineford. even before the day of the execution. Perhaps that would be the start of the Great War in One Piece. And honestly, despite the caliber of Marines at Marineford, I don't see the Revolutionary Army losing. Of course, they'd have support from great pirates like Shanks. Red-haired Shanks, the Emperor of the Sea that casually strolled into Marineford and declared the war over, would not have arrived so late if it were Luffy being executed. Here's why. Right from the beginning of One Piece, he already bet his arm on Luffy. Ain't no way he's going to watch his investment get beat down and killed without saying anything, especially not to the Marines. It'd be different if it's a pirate brawl, but to the Marines, Shanks would have something to say. So imagine Marineford with all the Marines, but this time facing the Emperor Shanks and all his allies, as well as the Revolutionary Army, and let's not forget Monkey D. Garp himself. At this point, you probably have realized that Luffy might not die, but in case you still need any more evidence, there's one more person that would come racing down to save Luffy. And that's none other than his trusty elder brother, the 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates and son of the Pirate King himself, Portgas D. Ace. I mean, if Luffy could move heaven and earth just to get to Marineford and save Ace, best believe Ace, his elder brother, would do the same and more for him. Having Ace alone come to Marineford would be massive and might help turn the tides of the battle, but here's the kicker. Whitebeard is big on family and loves Ace like his own son. Knowing that the Marines are out to get Ace, he wouldn't let him go alone. Understanding the love for family, Whitebeard would do everything in his power to ensure that Ace's brother lives. And in this case, he wouldn't need any convincing like he needed with Luffy. He would aid Ace in the mission. So, in essence, if Luffy ever came under the threat of execution, the Marines would find themselves facing the Straw Hat Pirates, the Red-Haired Pirates, the Whitebeard Pirates, 2 Emperors of the Sea and their allies by the way, and the Revolutionary Army. We already saw how much in favor of the Pirates Marineford War went even without so many big guns. So I think Luffy would not get executed that day without the execution time being moved to a different date and location. In the midst of all this, Luffy would probably have the same smug grin on his face which he had in Logtown, and would say something like, "I'm dead," again. But now, we'd like to hear from you. How do you think Luffy's execution at Marineford would go? Do you think any other person would come to his rescue? Leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with an otaku out there. Let's talk in the comment section.